over the next few weeks, I am going to take some time to go over some of the things that we are going to be learning about in class in our reading groups. One of the strategies that we use at our school and in our reading groups is called QAR. Some of you may wonder, what is QAR? QAR stands for Question Answer Relationship. It helps us understand the types of questions that are being asked. It helps us work out where to find the information, and it helps us comprehend or understand the text that has just been read. When we apply QAR strategies to our reading, we will get a better understanding of what we have just read, and we will be able to answer questions more easily. Students have already had multiple goes at understanding text using QAR strategies. Last term, we had explicit teaching on all the different types of QAR strategies, and we will be reinforcing them again this term. As parents, I would really like for this term if you could spend each night reading with your child, and after they have read, thinking about the types of questions that you may be able to ask them. This week, I would like you to focus on write their questions. The types of questions that can be asked are in the book questions or in my head questions. We break those down further into two types of questions under in my head. We have on my own questions and author and me questions. And in the book questions are write their questions and think and search. This week we are going to be focusing on write their questions. So when you are reading with your child, you might ask them a question and say, this is a write their question. What is a write their question, you might ask? A write their question is found directly in the text. The answer is in one sentence of the text. The question and answer usually have the same wording, and answers usually are one-worded or short phrases. There is usually only one right answer to write their questions. Some of the question stems that you might use when speaking to your child after they've done their reading are things like who is, where is, what is, when is, how many, and where did. There are lots of different question stems that you might use for write their questions, but these are just a few that might help you get started when posing a question that you might ask your child after they've finished reading their desired text. Here is an example of a write their question, and the students have done this in class, so they should be familiar with being able to identify write their questions and where the answers are in the text. But for parents, here is an example. The child will read the passage out loud to you. The Gingerbread Man. Once upon a time, there lived a sweet old woman and a grumpy old man. They lived in a tiny little cottage down near the river. The grumpy old man was hungry, so the sweet old woman decided to bake him a gingerbread man. To write their questions, you could ask are, where did they live and what did the old woman do? Remember, write their questions are found directly in the text. We tell the students in class they have to find it, point to it, highlight it, and then write it down. Those are the steps that we use. So when you're talking to them at home, you might say to them, where did they live? Remind them that it is a write their question. They need to find it in the text, so they need to look for key words from that question. Also, they need to be able to point to it. If they can't physically put their finger on the answer in the text, then therefore it is not a write their question, or they have not found the correct answer. Where did they live? Our two key words here are where and live. Your child rereads what they have just read, focusing on those key words. Once upon a time, there lived a sweet old woman and a grumpy old man. Lived. Lived is like live. Does that tell me where, though? No, it does not. So I continue reading. They lived in a tiny little cottage down near the river. There's lived again. I found a key word. Does it tell me where? They lived in a tiny little cottage down near the river. I found it and I can point to it. So yes, there is my right there answer. The next one. What did the old woman do? Our keywords in this question are what and old woman. Your child continues to read and finds these keywords in the text. The grumpy old man. Old woman? No, continue reading. The grumpy old man was hungry, so the sweet old woman, I found a key word, decided to bake him a gingerbread man. What did the old woman do? The old woman decided to bake him a gingerbread man. I found it and I can point to it. Therefore, it is a right there question and I have found my answer. I hope this has helped give you a little bit of an understanding about what right there questions are. This term with our homework, we have made it very simple and easy. So therefore, parents only have to do 10 minutes reading with their child each night and focusing on these strategies that we are working on in class. Students also have their times tables to complete, but our main focus that I would really love this term is for every child to be reading every night at home, and not only reading, but focusing on these types of questions. Please focus on right there questions this week and next week, and I will send you an update again soon. Thank you.